I hope I answered this question.
Cool. Another question. Sister David says, does having more than one wife mean bearing the financial responsibility too, or is it just physical? Is there a cap off number of wives that he feels he can have? The law calls that polygamy. All right.
Got you. So yeah, and if you could leave the question up so I could look at it, as I'm talking about it. So financial responsibility and physical responsibility, all of the responsibility is on the man. But what I mean by that is it's the man's job to manage. Like I always use some crazy examples. So like Steve Spurrier is a great coach of the Spurs. He knew how to manage Ginobili, Parker, Duncan, and they won like 4 or 5 championships while they was playing. So he got all these stars. He knew when to pull them off the bench, when to put them on the bench, when to start them, when to sit them. They would win all the games. So we are the coach. If y'all don't like white coaches, who's a good? Let me get a good black coach. Who's a good black coach?
Jason Kidd.
There you go. We got Jason. Well, he ain't win no championship yet, though.
As a player,
as a player, not as a coach. I'm trying to get the coaches up in there, right? So give me Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy had the coach ready to win the championship. I'm sorry, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers ready to win the championship. They probably didn't want to play for him. But then he went to the coach, won that championship. So you are the coach that has to manage your players. And I'm not saying this in a disrespectful way. I'm trying to get you to understand what it means to manage. Every woman does not have the same financial burden. Every woman does not even require the same thing. If a woman already has a good job, and she doesn't need you financially, why would you provide for her just cause? That's bad management. When there might be another woman you have that requires more from you. Let's say if you have kids with one woman, you don't have kids with another woman. The burden is more there than the other. So it's about being able to manage the wives. So the bearing of the wife in totality is on the man, and he has to manage that. The cap of wives, the scriptures say, do not multiply wives to yourself that they turn your heart from the Lord. So you should not take on the burden. Like we don't believe in divorce. Christ is against divorce. The only divorce is adultery. So now think about that. When you go lay with a woman, that's marriage. So do you want to stay with this woman forever? There ain't no hit it and quit it. You can't use reasons by earth, wind, and fire and then hit it and then the reason be gone and then now think you're going to dip off. You got to stay with that woman. You got to stay with that man. So if you're not willing and ready to deal with the responsibility of taking care of that woman, being with that woman, then you should not even have one wife. Ezekiel had one wife and the Lord gave his wife a stroke. So you shouldn't even have one wife if it takes you away from the Most High. That's Deuteronomy. What I read was Deuteronomy 17 and 17. I'll just read it. It says, neither shall he multiply. And although this is only talking about the king, most people use this scripture. So you can use this scripture for wisdom. It says, neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away. Neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold. Solomon was an example. Solomon had them wives, and what did he start doing? Start letting them follow and serve other gods. And we're not supposed to do that.
Cool. All right, she had a continuation to that.
Okay.
So it says, doesn't the scriptures teach us to obey the laws of the land, or those that have rule over us?
Yeah, again, you do obey the laws of the land. So that's what I was saying earlier to Sis Davis. I don't know if you was here in the beginning. I'm not telling nobody to go get multiple marriage contracts because the government doesn't control the marriage. The government just controls the contract, doesn't control the marriage. So marriage in the Bible is when a man and a woman court and agree to consummate that marriage through sexual intercourse. Once you court and have the sexual intercourse, your husband and wife, that's marriage. And that's not illegal if you have one or two in America. So you're not breaking any laws at all.
Right, cool. Let me get to this other question. There you go. It says, 1 Corinthians, they want
I'll be ad-libbing. Well, you know me by now, Tony. I'll just say, that's a good scripture.
Oh yeah, they want to explain 1 Corinthians 7 verses 1 to 3, and they said expound on let the husband render to the wife, do benevolence, and likewise also the future wife.
Right, that's right. So now let's 1 through 3. Right now, this is now 1 Corinthians 7 and 1 says, now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me. So now what he's saying is the things that we read previously is what he's talking about now. And for those that might not be familiar, in Corinthians, there was a son, there was a son. And this is the proof that they had multiple wives during this time, because the son was sleeping with his father's wife. That's in is it 6? Hold on, wait 1 second. I'm gonna tell you. So now when you go to 1 Corinthians 5 and 1, it says, it is reported commonly that there is fornication among you, and such fornication as is not so named among the Gentiles, that one should have his father's wife. That's the proof that they had multiple wives, even in the New Testament. That's not his mother that he's sleeping with. That's his father's other wife. So now, concerning those things thereof that ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. Now Paul is saying it is good not to touch a woman. Very next verse. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife. He's saying that so that that brother that slept with his father's wife stops. He's not saying that to be against the father that has two wives. The father that has two wives is not the problem. The son sleeping with his father's second wife is the problem. So to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. He's saying that to stop fornication. Somebody would have to show me where Jacob committed fornication because he had 4 wives, where Abraham committed fornication because he had 2 wives, where Solomon committed fornication, he had 1,000. You would have to show me in the scriptures where it's fornication to have more than one wife. That's what they would have to show. So I'm gonna keep reading it. It says, let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence. That's talking about intercourse, and likewise also the wife unto the husband. So those scriptures is clearly against the fornication that Paul was writing about in the 5th chapter, that the son was sleeping with his father's wife. It's not about a man having more than one wife.
All right. Another question from the chat. Valid says, did he just say hitting it is automatically marriage?
I didn't use the term hitting it. I said when you court and then consummate through sexual intercourse, that is marriage. So, well, I'll go with this term. Yeah, hitting it is automatically marriage. I'll answer that with a simple yes or no. Yes, if you and this is, I know when I say that, right, a lot of, especially people on Tony's channel, their mind is gonna be blown. They're gonna go crazy. They gonna do all of this because in their mind, I just said something that because of how nasty this world is, it comes across like Cap is saying that we all just sleeping with each other and it's okay. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying that in the Bible, it says if you lay with a woman, that's your wife. I can read it. Like if I read Genesis 29, if I go to Genesis 29, let's see the verse. Just trying to find a verse. It came to pass and feel a week, and he gave him Rachel, his daughter, the wife. Also, I'm just trying to get to Bilhah, where it says that was the wife. Just bear with me 1 second. There we go.
So good.
This is Genesis 30 and 3. And it says, and she said, behold, my maid Bilhah, go in unto her, because Rachel couldn't have kids. And she said, behold, my maid Bilhah, go in unto her, and she shall bear upon my knees, that I may have children by her. And she gave him Bilhah, her handmaid, to wife, and Jacob went in unto her. So that's Rachel telling Jacob to sleep with my handmaid. That's now your wife. They had sex. That's what made. There's no ceremony. There was no marriage contract. There was none of that. He went in unto her, and that was his wife. So when we say that, what it's supposed to do is, for every woman out there having free sex, and here's the flip side about this. The Christians that argue that sex is marriage, Tony, let me blow your mind. The Christians that argue that sex is not marriage and that you have to have a marriage contract, all of them are having sex before they get married.
Yeah.
All of them. When if you're going to be a Christian and if you're supposed to be married before you have sex, but you're having sex before you get married, then you're not even a good Christian that you say you're supposed to be. Damn. Now, let that sizzle in your spirit, all you Christians out there that think y'all got this marvelous point.